Hey yo, what's the deal? You know who it is. It's the Don. Yeah, Tony Teflon. House Teflon. We pull the strings. Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? And this is because people just asked me to run this real quick. This is gonna be real quick. My top 7 video games of all time. Now, I'm not gonna do like modern video games because these modern video games obviously they're great and they have a lot going for them and the graphical power, so it's hard to compare them to other video games. So I'm basically going to base this on, if these games didn't happen, you wouldn't have any of these modern video games. And even though there are a lot of these great modern video games, I still think that these video games are still the greatest video games ever made. And it's hard to do. It's really hard to break this list down and stuff like that. I tried to get something for everything, and this is my honest opinion of the top 7 video games of all time. Number 7, ActRaiser. Now, I know probably a lot of people don't know what ActRaiser was, but this game was phenomenal. Not only did it have action in it, RPG, and strategy all in the same game, where you were basically a god and you had to have people look over your world, and there were people from over here, and when they would have demons in a certain area, you would come down and then fight the demons with a sword and a sword and jumping ability and stuff like that to clear the path so the people could populate the area. And then when they would populate the area, say some people you get over here in this town, they were just sad all the time, so then you go around to your other people, and then one of them invents music, and another guy invents a boat. So then you send the guy who invents the boat to the guy who invents the music, and then he sails over to the other people that are sad. And when they hear the music, now they all of a sudden they're happy all of a sudden. So things like that go on in that game and stuff like that. So I think that was a phenomenal game. I could play it right now. Great, great game. Number 6. This is hard because I was gonna put the PlayStation one in there, but I'm gonna not. I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy 3. I mean, this is a great. If you had to just go turn-based role-playing game and you needed to play one and your life depended on it, this would be the turn-based role-playing game that started the whole turn-based role-playing game phenomenon right there. Kefka, probably the most evil villain in all video games. I mean, you just can't beat the story. Everything makes you cry. People just dying and turning themselves into stone on to save you, and everything. Had humor, which said it's just, this is a game that the summons and all the cutscenes that you see now in video games, this is what started all of that. You would not have that, when you summon Odin and Bahamut and Neo and stuff like that. And this was the greatest graphics you've ever seen in history in the games at this time when this came out. It was unbelievable, just to see that, and Odin and all that. So what can you say? Final Fantasy 3, 6. Number 5, Eternal Darkness. Now, this may be another game a lot of people have not played, and a shame if you didn't. If you just talk pure story, I think you get to play through as 8 or 9 different characters in this game to solve this game, and it is just the whole way, every story. It never gets boring. It's scary. It's got this insanity meter that if you see too much insane stuff on the screen, your player starts to go insane. And at certain points, you'll just be walking through the game, and then all of a sudden your arm will fall off, and your leg will fall off, and then your head will fall off, and then you'll be back all the way in the beginning where you first started. Or you'll just be walking through the room, and all of a sudden a bunch of creatures will just pop up and snuff you, and then all of a sudden they'll disappear. Or you just see flies start on your screen, on your TV screen. It was just a great game. You had to beat it really 3 times to get the true ending, and I beat it every time to get the Mana Rock ruin. And it was just, and if you didn't get the Mana Rock ruin, you were just dissed in that game. Bottom line, you needed that. What a great game that was. If you never had a chance to play it, I would say if you can get the ROM for it or something, please do. Number 4 is a tie, and I had to make this a tie. GoldenEye Nintendo 64, Perfect Dark, Nintendo 64. To me, these are the two greatest first-person shooter games of all time. It showed you what a multiplayer would be, could be. It was the beginning of the multiplayer. There'd be no multiplayer without those two games. And still, to me, it's got the greatest controls and still probably the greatest multiplayer shooter I ever played. I spent more time playing those games with just four people in my room, in my house, with split screen just playing. More fun doing that than I have ever on any Call of Duty thing online with people, point blank. Still to this day, that's how good those games are. Number 3, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Without a doubt, has to be. I mean, this game, I took people's rent money. I took people's manhood. I sent people home crying. I've taken people's stashes. I've taken everything. Played this game. I love this game. What could you say? This is what a fighting. Without this game, there is no sense of having other fighting games. And the bottom line, I could right now get on that game and beat anybody in the world. I destroyed everyone in that game. I was unbelievable. Just give me Ken. I don't care if I'm on the left or the right hand side. It would not matter what you did. It's impossible to defeat me. Period. That game is just phenomenal. The fighting game craze is all because of that. Number 2, Super Mario 64. How can it not be that? Without Super Mario 64, we'd be playing on a 2D world. This was the first game that allowed you to roam 3D throughout the world. The first game to do it. There is no open world games without this game coming out, without them showing that this is possible, without you being able to do this. So how can't this be the second greatest game of all time? I just don't see how it's possible. And if you could see, a lot of these games are Nintendo games, because Nintendo is the innovator of a lot of things. Even today, even though they don't sell like they used to, they're still the innovators of everything. So the number 1 greatest video game of all time, for me, the Teflon Donahue, in my opinion. Resident Evil 4, without a doubt. Now, when I say why, you have all these games that you get, all these Tomb Raider games that are coming out, all these Uncharted games that have come out, all these Last of Us games that have come out, all these anything is not possible without this Resident Evil game. The over-the-shoulder look about going about it. The getting rid of the zombies, the slow zombies, to taking it outdoors, to having people that are infected that are. This game, you were actually really afraid. It had you panicking what to do. It made you nervous when you seen this dude run up in the room and had to push a box in front of the door. And before things came in, and the guy in the bag with a chainsaw coming at you. This game had everything. When you mash the buttons instead of just moving the guy to do certain things and everything else. Hit A, hit B, hit A, hit B. First game to do all of that. First game, mechanics perfect, every story perfect. Greatest game of all time. I think I played that game through more times than I beat it with this Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal outfit. Once you get that Tommy gun, it is over. You run right through everyone, and it's done. So yo, that's it. That's my top 7 video games of all time. There's a lot I know that could be there, Shadow of the Colossus and a lot of modern games and stuff like that, but that's just my list. So as always, if you like it, please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I'll keep doing different videos if that's what you like, but I'm getting back on my Game of Thrones thing. It's just going to take a second because I'm working on the finale for the whole wrap up for the whole season and stuff like that. So as always, subscribe to your friends about me, like me, thumbs up it if you want to see more. And as always, it's the Don, Tony Teflon, House Teflon, Teflon 316. We pull the strings, Peace, and I'm out. The People's Champ.